Okay. I love what I get to do. I love that technology allows us to do so much, and I am still learning so much every day. So we are going to jump in here. Hey, Valerie, I did not know you guys were in Yukon. That's awesome. You've probably been there for a while, and I didn't know it. So she's from Elk City, lives in Yukon now. All right. Well, I will start off today. Today is day 1 of mental stamina. And I absolutely love teaching these and just sharing them with people. I have a very deep passion to help people. And I'll be very upfront honest with you. Today, about 20 minutes before I got on this call, we got a text message from where my kids go to school that a high school senior committed suicide last night. And so that definitely shook my world for a minute, and every single time that I put myself out there and host something like this, or even just in the line of work that I do, I was very hesitant to jump into doing this because I knew that I would be going through things personally as well and still have to show up for other people. But it's up here that I get to make a decision of placing meaning on things out in life. And so what happens, and we get to choose the meaning that we give it. And so I thought to myself, what a better time to step in here and share things on mental stamina, to share how our physical body may be playing a role in how we think, how we feel. We are continuously bombarded day in and day out. Our attention is vouched for everywhere around us, because that is what people make money off of, is what we give our attention to. And so if we can master our attention and master our mental acuity, and if we can master some things in our physical health, like, man, we've been listening. I don't know if you guys listen to Joe Rogan. He has some very interesting people on his podcast, and it's on Spotify. So it's not filtered. It's not censored. It's not anything. And there have been some very interesting conversations had on that podcast that we've learned a lot from, or even just had our eyes open to. Not saying I believe everything in any aspect, but it has been very interesting to start to put some pieces together in our physical health. So, hey, Sally lives in the boondocks, Tensed, Idaho. Internet connection is unstable. Okay, that's totally fine. We'll just let you right back in if we lose you. Yes, I got to meet Sally in person a couple weeks ago down at Quartz Mountain. So I'm super excited to have you on today. Okay, so if we can get some of these things and these pieces put together, I come from a nursing background, and it was awesome. And it was neat and everything. I really had a desire to help people, and I thought that that's the way I would do it. As I got in there and I started practicing nursing and understanding how the system works, understanding what the solutions were that were offered to people and seeing them come back, I thought, are we actually helping anyone? And then when I got pregnant, I started to think through, like, well, all of these things that are about to happen to my baby, how I'm going to deliver, and then what happens directly afterwards, and then at all their checkups and all this stuff. And I thought, there's got to be another way. How in the world did people do this for centuries and just thousands of years before now? How did they sustain life? Because all of this whole medical model, all this changed just a few hundred years ago, 150, 200 years ago, drastically started changing. And so, yes, I think that there are good things to the medical model. I love that we can do surgery on people. I love that we can, that it's there if it's absolutely needed, but are there other ways that we could look at things? So I did a complete 180 when I had my baby. I decided to use a midwife. I jumped into essential oils. I jumped into nutrition. My baby started having diaper rashes, and I was like, how's that happening? So what am I putting on their little bum? What am I putting in their body? And so what am I putting in my body? Because I was breastfeeding, and, started figuring out all these things. And as I started cutting out gluten, cutting out dairy, cutting out sugar, starting to look at things, and I started feeling better. I did not know the state that I was in, because I never knew what feeling good felt like. And so I went down the rabbit trail, you know, changing how we ate. We even got rid of our microwave, y'all. um, and so we haven't had a microwave in 9 years. My husband and I were counting that up last night. I was like, man, it's been almost 9 years. We haven't even zapped anything in the microwave. So anyhow, it might sound weird. And then we thought, I was told I was weird for a very long time, and I became okay with it though. And once I did all of these physical things with my physical body, I felt so much better, but I still didn't feel like lively or like energetic, or, you know, I don't know. Something was still just missing. I still felt blah. I still felt just like down. And so when I came into the world of mindset work, it rocked my world. After my first baby, I also decided not to go back to nursing full time. And then that turned into just not at all. And I ended up going to the massage therapy route. And I started to understand the physical body. I was working on people's physical bodies. And I'm like, why does this keep presenting itself? You know, why does this same person keep struggling with the same thing? And I started to understand a little bit about energetics and how we are made up of energy. There is a vibrational frequency, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, but we all operate on a vibrational frequency. Our phone does, our pen does, and the only difference between the structure of these two things is the frequency at which they vibrate. So the law of attraction says everything vibrates, nothing rests. We're always in motion. We're always moving. We're always evolving. And if we hold a certain energy in our body, it will manifest eventually. And our thought patterns, how we think, how we feel, that causes a physiological response inside of our body. And this fascinated me. And so we'll store things in different organs, different limbs of our body, our shoulders, hips, different areas. And it is, at first I was like, this is so weird. There's no way. And now you cannot convince me otherwise. So I started understanding some energetic things in the physical body. I kind of started bringing this together, and I thought there is no way to truly help a person on one level, say the physical plane, if you do not help them on the mental plane, if you do not help them on the spiritual plane, because we are one whole being. And I think with the system and the medical model we have now, it's so specialized. You know, they're specializing in this area, specializing in this area, and you float around from this person to this person to this person, and no one brings the whole picture together. Because if we're not addressing how we think, then there's all kinds of things going on in our physical body having a response to your thoughts. And I'm going to show you that in just a second of how that works. If you're also not addressing your physical body, maybe there are genetic mutations you have that you're not absorbing vitamins. Maybe your hormones are off. Maybe your lymphatic system isn't draining properly, so you don't have energy. You feel very down. You feel you're overwhelming your system because the toxins are not getting out. Maybe your liver's not functioning great. You need to do a liver flush. Maybe, like, there's so many things. Neurotoxins, maybe you have those floating around your body. Maybe your nervous system is way overstimulated. I think that's about 95% of people in the world right now. Children, adults, everyone. I believe that our nervous system is so heavily overstimulated by the lights, by the electronics, by the food that we eat, by social media, by our cell phone, by the amount of times of day that we're needed. We need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. I mean, the pace and the cadence at which life is flowing right now, it's totally out of control. And the only person that is going to bring that back within, I don't want to say limits, but within a sustainable measure that you can sustain that pace at, this thing is a marathon. It's not a 100-yard dash. And so we get to choose that cadence for our life, though. And I really want to empower you with that through our time together, that you do get to choose that, even if everything else outside of you is not operating at that frequency, at that level, at that pace. You can. And many times when we get going so fast, so out of control, we're just doing circles. and it's not actually effective. But when we will slow down, especially when we will slow down our process of thought and get clear and get intentional with what we're doing, I think you'll be amazed at the effectiveness with which you actually end up speeding up. And when you also can understand vibrations and frequency, and you raise your frequency, you start attracting different things into your life, that is way more effective than trying to work and hustle your way there in a frequency that's way down here and attracting more things for you to have to work and hustle hard to get to. So we're going to dive deep, and I'm kind of like already getting into things. But that's a little bit about my background and kind of where I come from. And then I love entrepreneurship too. I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I love, business, and then understanding energetics and how that works in business with people, all of these things. But today, throughout this summit, we're focusing more on the physical health piece. So we're going to dive into the thought process and energetics first. And then on day 3, we'll dive more into all the physical things that may be kind of going on. So usually today I have a guest speaker. She had an emergency this weekend that she had to go be present for. Another incidence of inflicted self-harm, that she had to go to the hospital and be there for a friend who inflicted some really I don't know, strong is the word. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, self-harm, and she really had to be there for that person. So she's not able to be here today. But what I'm going to do is share a little bit more of my story later on. And then we're going to move up day 2 into today, half of it. And then tomorrow, I'm going to lead you guys through a meditation and a very effective way to reset your nervous system in about 5 minutes. So I'm really excited to share that with you tomorrow. I hope that you guys will be able to join us then. And we're going to walk through this together. Like, I don't just want to come pour information on you. Information is everywhere. Okay. It's free. It's available. It's everywhere. And yes, I'm going to share some information with you. I also want you to walk away feeling different. I want you to have the experience and the understanding of, okay, this is what we did, and this is how I feel, and now I get it, and now I can go implement that and do that. So that is my goal for tomorrow, is to really, let's dig in together, share together, and walk through that process together, so you can have this kind of tucked in your back pocket when you need it, type of thing. Okay, so a few other housekeeping things. So there's a workbook. If you haven't printed the workbook, it's in your email. It's PDF version. You can just click and print that off, because the replays will disappear on Friday. So if you'd like to take notes in your workbook, and you'll have it to look back at. There's also a free 30-minute call with me. So I know I cover a lot of stuff. I get to talking really fast sometimes. If you guys have questions, if there are things that you're working on in your physical health or your mental health, and you would like help with that, I block off my calendar for nearly the entire week to be able to set up calls with everyone who registers. They are free. They're 30 minutes long. We can jump into whatever you decide to jump into. And I absolutely love offering those. So there's a Calendly link that you can check out my availability. If you don't see anything that works for you there, reach out to me. Let me know. Let's find a time that works for both of us and get connected. Like, this is great. And we can receive information all day long. Are you applying the information? Is it changing your life? Because if not, let's dig in. Let's do it together. So that's available to you also. And like I said, the replays will come down on Friday. So, okay, let's jump in on page 3. If our thoughts can make us sick, then is it possible our thoughts can make us well? The answer is absolutely yes. This is from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's been one of my very favorite, I'd say, mentor, someone I've learned from, YouTube videos. I use his meditations often. I absolutely love Joe Dispenza, and he brings a lot of the scientific pieces into how does meditation actually work? How is this actually affecting your body? So they'll bring people into conferences for a week. They'll do lab work. They'll do brain scans. They'll take a very in-depth inventory, basically, of what's going on with this person. And then at the end after working with them through meditation, visualizations, breath work, just different aspects like that. They go through at the end and they redo their lab work, but they redo their brain scans, and they can see, like, they can measure the differences in these people. It is fascinating to me, the differences that they see, even in like bringing down their cholesterol, bringing down their blood pressure, bringing down their hormones, balancing out. their brain scans totally different. Like they're lighting up different parts of their brains they haven't lit up in the past, you know, like the imagination, the frontal cortex, all of these things are starting to work. It's starting to click. Their memory is being tapped into in a different way. Like it's so cool. So anyhow, I'm one that I'm kind of like, I got to see some proof in the pudding before I'm going to jump in and take a bite. So he definitely has the proof in the pudding if you'd like to go down and study more of his stuff. So this is the best scenario that I can think of to help you understand what you think has a physiological response in your body. So when you watch a movie and it's a scary movie and something comes on, you know, in your mind, your conscious mind knows that you are not in that movie. There's no questioning that. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. This is so powerful because many times we use our subconscious mind and our imagination in a way that is not beneficial. We step into fear and we start imagining all these things going wrong. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if they judge me? What if they say this? What if this doesn't go well? What if I don't make it out? What if? So this is simply using your imagination and your subconscious mind in a way that does not serve you. That scary movie comes on, you know good and well that you are not the character in the movie, but you're watching it. Your subconscious mind is taking that in. Your heart rate starts to go up. Your palms might get sweaty. You know, you might even start to shake. Like sometimes you start kind of twitching around, like getting uncomfortable. You might even start tensing up your shoulders. These are all like your cortisol is probably being stimulated. Your adrenaline's being stimulated. So now your hormones are taking a hit from all of this. And then guess what? You're going to have to process all of that out of your body and hope that your detox pathways are working correctly to get that to move out. So just by watching a simple movie, can you imagine what we're doing on social media when we're scrolling through, oh, happy moment for that person. Oh, sad moment for that person. Oh, that makes me angry. Oh, that makes me, we are not meant to process things like that. And the thing is that we're not. We're not giving ourselves permission to process everything we see because we're bombarded with too much. So then guess what happens? Subconsciously, that's just getting stored. It's not actually being processed. So that's kind of in the negative. Let's think about a positive thing. So when you are, let's say, when you're holding a baby, I just got to see Katie James a while ago. She's one of my assistants, and she was on with her baby and that little milk drunk, you know, just, I was like, oh my gosh, I about started crying. But listen, here's the contrast. The message that I got from the school versus seeing a baby. It was an emotional roller coaster. And now, boom, here I am. We'll get it together and let's go. You know, so you get to choose these things. And the more you practice choosing them, the faster you'll get. The better you'll be able to do it faster and better. And I don't encourage you to do it fast in the beginning. You know, I love it when people are able to actually process their emotions. There's a scale of emotional harmonics that I love walking clients through. We work up the scale. When I first started using this for myself, it took me about a month to get up the scale. Something might happen and I might sit there and I might feel angry about it. I might feel sad about it. And I might not like it. I might replay it over and over and over again. And then I get to feel all the feelings over again. And then I get to get myself worked up again. And then I get to go take that energy and give that to my kids or my husband or whoever is in front of me. Boy, this is a cycle that gets to spinning really fast. So when we can process our emotions and things, that brings us back to having the choice. It gives us power again. So let's turn this into positive. So when you're holding a baby, what are the emotions that you feel? When you're the mom, or even when you're not the mom, you might have, if you're lactating, usually you will have milk drop in a split of a second, you know, boom. That is a physiological response. Sometimes it was just seeing a baby, hearing a baby cry. But you hold a baby, you're starting to get endorphins going. You're starting to get all the good things going inside of your body just by looking at or holding a baby because you feel something. This is why your emotions matter so much. And these things are connected. You know, when you're getting frisky with your partner, hey, you're feeling lots of things. There's lots of things happen physiologically when you go down that route. So it starts in your thoughts that then create emotions that then starts to create physiological responses in your body. Okay, I think we all get it now. So, okay, we're on page 3 if you're just hopping in here. The law of conservation of energy. So now that we're kind of connecting these pieces, let's move into some energetics. So when you have a thought, that then creates an emotion, which then creates a belief, then an action, and then an outcome. A thought repeated over and over again starts to create a pretty strong emotion. A thought combined with a very strong emotion, repeated over and over again, starts to create a very strong belief. Beliefs are just thoughts that you keep thinking until you believe it to be true. They say it's easier to believe a lie you've heard 1,000 times than to believe the truth you've only heard once. So if we can do this, if this has been done in a negative way, maybe we were told by a teacher, you won't amount to much, you're not very smart, you're struggling, you're this, you're that. Maybe you're told by a doctor that you have XYZ diagnosis. Maybe you're told by a parent that you're messy, you're this, you're that. That has developed you into who you are. Some of this is DNA genetics too, that we're born with. Some of this is from society, from our surroundings. Some of this we just made up in our own mind and decided that it was true. The beautiful part about this, though, if this is a true cycle, if we start to change our thoughts and then we start to change how we feel, we start to create different beliefs that we then take different actions from, which then start to produce a different outcome in our life. What if it really was that simple? Not to say it might take some persistence, because how many years have you been operating with this program running? It might take some persistence. It might take some work. It might take some I'm going to make this decision again and again and again. If I have to make the same decision 20 times today, I'm the boss of me today. So you have the choice and you have the power to do that. That's something I wrote in our book. Remember choice. I forgot that I had a choice. I thought life was happening to me. I thought everybody else decided everything for me. And then I just had to go along with it all and figure it out. It's not true. You have a choice. And I think that's where so many people start to feel the hopelessness in life, is that they forget they don't have to please everybody. Because here's the thing, you cannot please everybody. So, and I'm not saying be just totally selfish and only think about you and only think about pleasing you, but when you are in a pleasant state, you get to go share that with other people. And it's a really, really beautiful thing. So energy is neither created nor destroyed. When it's used, it does not disappear. It transforms from one form to the other. So let's think about the atomic bomb very quickly. They say that the amount of mass that it takes to get that thing going, it would fill a thimble. That's all it starts out as. That, boom. You add a catalyst to it, you have a massive explosion. You are the catalyst to something that seems very small, but is very powerful when it's combined with light. Einstein, I believe, what was his equation? NC in something, and light squared is what energy is. So it's the light hitting it with the mass that's already there that it creates the massive explosion. It is not hard. It is literally science. And I love bringing it into this aspect. So, okay, on page 4, just because you think a thought does not mean you have to accept it as truth. Thoughts become beliefs when repeated with emotional conviction. A lot of times we don't choose our first thought. We just kind of have it. Like we just see something and it's usually a judgment call. We see something and boom, we have a judgment. Oh, well, that's pretty. Even just thinking something's pretty is a judgment. That's messy. That's hard. That's frustrating. That's whatever. Usually it's a judgment call. But the second thought you get to choose. Usually we have an emotional reaction to something. The second emotion, though, you get to choose. What am I going to do with that? Am I going to continue feeling that, or am I going to change it? Am I going to reframe this thing? Am I going to place new meaning on it? The meaning that I choose to give it, to have a different emotion about it. So just because you have it doesn't mean it's true. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. You get to choose. So your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. Talked about that a little bit earlier. The conscious mind is the filter and the chooser. So like I said, that first boom, initial thing comes in, you consciously get to say, yes, I agree, or no, I disagree. So your conscious mind chooses what goes into your subconscious mind by way of agreement or disagreement. So what do you choose to feed it? You get to choose what you place around you for the most part. There are some things, some people believe we 100% manifest our life. I think we about 95% manifest our life. I choose to believe in God and in a supernatural power beyond me. I also believe that I'm a co-creator with that power and that I've been given free will and the ability to make decisions and choices. The way I think about it is with my kids. You know, I absolutely love seeing what they create in life. I love to provide for them. I love to say, hey, here's the markers, here's the crowns, here's the glue and the paper and all the things are already created. Creation is finished. Everything is right here for you. It is already here. It already exists. You get to put it together in your mind of what you would love your life to look like. So I provide things for my kids and I love to see what they come up with. I don't like telling them what to draw and what to do and how to do it and all that stuff. I get joy out of seeing them use their imagination and create something of their own. And I just wonder if our creator isn't the same way. So, what are you feeding your mind? What are you coming up with? Everything's created twice. It's first created in the imagination, then it's brought into physical form. Every single thing. Cell phone. Someone had the idea, we could call and we could do this, and then we could add this app and they'd be able to do this and that. It's all in their mind first, and then it's brought into form. It's a very powerful, very, very powerful process. What if you could learn to harness that? So do you tend to use your imagination for the worst case scenario or the best? When you think about what if statements, do you think about, what if it doesn't work? What if this fails? What if I stumble on my words? What if I say the wrong thing? What if whatever? Or do you go best case scenario? What if this works? What if this freaking works? What if I changed someone's life? Or better yet, what if I just showed up and I trusted that God was going to speak through me? And I relaxed enough, I chilled out enough, I didn't place all the pressure on me to be perfect. And I said, I'm here. Use me, show up, speak through me, do what you need to do, God. Whoa, what a different experience those two things are. Even for you in your life, having conversations with people in your workplace, in your home, with your kids, with whoever it is. What scenarios are you playing out in your mind? Because those are literally the scenarios that you are creating. So where would you rate yourself on a scale of vibrational frequency? So we talked about, okay, happiness, joy, fulfillment, satisfaction, honesty, integrity, love. All of those are vibrational frequencies we feel. Those are feelings that we feel. And all a feeling is a vibrational frequency. So, and they can measure this in hertz. People that vibrate at a higher vibrational frequency, they have a further reach. It literally reaches out. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's like 3 to 6 meters when you're at a high frequency. When you're vibrating at a low frequency, we're depressed, we're down, the world's against us, everything's happening to us. We're frustrated, we're angry, we're irritated, we're whatever, all of those vibrational feelings, like you could just feel it. When I talk about the other, we're up. When we talk about this, we're down. That's all it is. Vibrational frequency. When you're down here, your reach is not as far. When it is measured out in hertz, just like music, just like the vibration of music. So this is only measured out like 3 to 6 inches outside of the body when you're at a lower frequency. It is fascinating. So if you were like on your little paper there, all those lines on the left side, put a dot where you feel your life is at right now, where you're at right now. Is it about in the middle? Is it a little less than the middle? Maybe it's a little higher than in the middle. And then when you think about the life that you would absolutely love to have, Where would that one be? For me, I was probably vibrating on about a 3 when I came into mindset work and all of this. And I felt very annoyed. And I came to understand that feeling annoyed generally comes from feeling anointed because you understand there is more. And so, how can you shift that? So, I came in here and I was like, man, if I had this, if I was doing that, if I had this amount of money, if my health was like this, if my kids and I had the family and I had all the things, I would feel this way right here. So now I have an incongruence. These don't match. So, how do we get from here to here? Follow along. Page 5. Okay, so all potentials that exist in the quantum field exist in the present moment as potentials electromagnetically. So Joe Dispenza says quantum field, like whatever's out there, the things that we know are out there that we just haven't gotten to yet. Everything exists. Creation is here. It's all right here. Are you a match to it? Do you match the life that you desire right here? How can you match it if you don't have it? Hang tight. So, our job is to change our energy to match those potentials that already exist in the quantum field. Then you start drawing that experience to you. So as you move toward it, it moves towards you. So we're going up and down and we're also coming together like this. It's a really cool thing. Okay, so we're going to move into day 2 because tomorrow we're going to do the meditation. We're switching things up just a bit. So tomorrow we're going to go into that. So now I would love for you guys. So there's pages to take notes and things there. If you have questions, write them down. We're going to have open Q&A on Friday. So write things down, bring them Friday. All right. So on page 6, awareness is key. So we've identified that maybe we're operating down here. We've identified that we know that there's better. We know there's more. We want this up here. How are we going to get to there? So in the Bible, it says, take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. I also love bringing scripture into what I do because I really, truly believe that the Bible, I was raised in church, so I had one view of the Bible. As I started getting into understanding mindset, understanding like the quantum field and all of these things, quantum energy, I truly believe that the Bible is the most correct book on quantum energy. It all makes sense to me. I don't choose like one over the other. I think they are directly correlated. So in the Bible, it says, take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. To me, that gives us evidence that we have the capability to take our thoughts captive. In our world, I think we've been made to believe that we don't have that option. We're not able to do that. I'm not saying that there aren't some rare circumstances out there of people that may not have that ability, or that cognitive ability. But for the most part, let's go with the 90% that are healthy functioning human beings. We have the ability to take our thoughts captive. We just are not practiced at it. We've been told how to think and what to think since the day we were born, since the day we went into the public school system, since the day we turned on TV and decided we need to look like that, we need to act like that, we need to do those things. Since the day social media came out, boy, then that all got mixed up. Now we don't even know what to think or feel or how to be or what's cool, what's in, what's out. And it's changing so fast, we can't keep up with it. We can't change our lifestyle fast enough to be cool anymore. So what do you do with that? I think it's the best thing that ever happened, to be honest. Heck, if I can't keep up, I might as well just be myself. I mean, really, what are we doing? So if we have the ability to take our thoughts captive, how do we get practiced at that? That is a skill we got to develop. We haven't done it for however many years old we are. Man, it might take a minute to get used to that. I might have to tell myself, yes, you can do that. And we're going to practice. We're going to do it. So if mental stamina were a muscle, On a scale from 0 to 10, how strong do you feel in this area? Go ahead and write that number down. If you want to share that in the chat. I would love to know. I'll be honest with you, mine was about a 2 or a 3. Because boy, I was in a strong victim mentality. My life was this way because of my parents, because of this, because of that. My parents got divorced when I was 17 years old. I did not understand the degree to which that affected me until I got older, and I realized I kept going back to that as the reason why I was the way I was, or why I treated my husband the way I treated him, or why I acted out in a certain way, or why things were the way they were now. I'm like, how long are you going to live in that 1 year of your life? It was 1 year that I stayed stuck in for 15 years. I drug out that victim mentality for 15 years until I started making a decision. And then you know what? I made the decision again. I had to make the decision again and again and again, a million times over. I keep making decisions about who I am today. And that's not to say we shove everything under the rug. Thanks for sharing, Kathy. Kathy says a 5, but working on it. I love it. Hey, and this is an everyday process. This isn't college. We're not going to go to the school of mindset and get a certificate and we're good on it forevermore. This is something that is continuously worked on. It is continuously, it's a progression throughout our entire life. And I think we're talking about awareness right now. We will become more and more and more aware with every passing day that we are here on this earth. And so you better believe that with awareness comes responsibility. When I became aware of the power that I have within me, I was terrified. Manifest? You mean I'm creating things? Like, you mean I have the power to do that? I don't want that power. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to create it and then be responsible for it. I want someone else to do that. But wait a second, I really don't, because I don't like the way they're doing it. I don't like what they're creating. But I didn't want them. I didn't want the responsibility of creating. So here comes this power. Here comes this awareness. And even with my kids, I look at them and I think, I hope and pray that they continue growing in their awareness. That what seems big to them now feels small to them in the future. That they're able to handle more, that their capacity grows. With that, with power comes responsibility. And I think that's where a lot of us meet this rub. We don't want the responsibility, but here's the thing. You cannot change something you're not responsible for. You're responsible for you. I'm not saying you're responsible for everyone else and what they're creating and what they're doing with their life. You are totally responsible for you, though. And until we embrace that and shift our perspective around it and say, hey, this is a good thing, then we will not change. So for you to be empowered to change requires you to be willing to accept responsibility to do so. And I like making that fun for people. Okay, Sally said she was at a 3. That's why I'm here. Hey, girl, welcome to this beautiful place to be. You're in a great space, and I'm super glad that you're here. Okay, so let's move on. What emotions are produced by the thoughts running through your head? Are they mostly negative, like fear, guilt, anxiousness, feeling angry? Or are they mostly positive? Are you happy? Do you feel satisfied? Do you feel ease and flow? Are you having fun? No matter what, could you still find something fun, something to be grateful for? Could you make the laundry be fun? Could you, like, whatever it is, do you have clarity? Do you feel healthy? What emotions are being produced by the thoughts and the programs running through your head? Many times, the thoughts and programs running through our head are actually memories that we keep replaying over and over again. Like I said, since your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference, why don't you start using your imagination to play a memory of something that hasn't happened yet? Whoa, it's a weird thought. So instead of replaying a memory over and over and over, what if you create a whole new scene? All you're doing is playing a scene, something that you saw, something that you felt, and you have this stuck and it's on repeat and you play it over and over again. What if you created a whole new scene? Use your imagination, create a new scene, create a new emotions that attach to that. And you start running that in your mind over and over and over again, because now you can feel different. And when you feel different, if you go back to page 3, when you feel different, your emotions are different, you start creating new beliefs. When you start developing strong beliefs, you start taking different actions. You show up differently. You do things differently. You have a different energy about you. You make different choices about how you're going to use your time. You steward your time, you steward your money differently. And those actions create a different outcome in your life. So go back to what emotions are being produced, and would it be worth you learning how to change your thoughts to produce different emotions? Okay, what are some common phrases that run through your head on repeat? Who did they come from? When did they start? Do a little detective work on yourself right here. And let's go back and let's find some of these things. And I think this is where a lot of therapy comes in. People that have done counseling or therapy, they come into this and they find out why you feel the way you do. Why is all this happening? What's the root, going back to maybe the root cause, or just where all this started, all this stuff. And we dig up the past, and we dig up the past, and we dig up the past. And what are we going to do with the past? Toss it out the window. Yeah. But many times I've worked with people. This is why I loved coaching, and this is why I went this direction. Yes, identify the thing. Then when we're ready. I'm not saying if you're in the thick of trauma right now, in the very thick of trauma, there is a time and a place to heal from that before you try to move on. And I think that deserves its time. I respect that. I honor that. And I think it's very valuable to sit in that for a moment, to heal from it, to process it, to be present for that. And then when that time is finished and you're ready to move forward, that's what I love to do. I love to help people start to create something different in their imagination, start to believe something different about yourself, start to work on your health, mentally, physically, spiritually, and get momentum moving forward. I'm not going to push you. I will not push anyone. I love to lead by inspiration. And to me, inspiration comes from the front. It is being led. I say I won't push you. There's a very few instances where I do give you a little nudge, the healthy little nudges that are needed. For the most part, 90% of what I do, though, is inspiration, inspired, led, in spirit. This is where the spiritual piece comes from. So, what common phrases run through your head on repeat? Identify them. Yes. And then we can change them. So let's see here. We have some things coming in the chat. Kathy says, change is sometimes so hard depending on how long you have believed them. It is a daily choice for me. Yes, yes, yes. And even going deeper into that, that is an assumption that change is hard. I came to the same conclusion myself. My coach called me out on that, and I was like, and so we have a belief that this is going to be hard. And so it is, and it's a daily choice. So we even get to reframe that. I call myself out all the time on these things too. And clients, and then my clients call me out on it. And so it's a cool thing to get to kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Like, oh, so you believe that's hard? Oh, well, dang it. Like, what if I believed it was easy? And maybe you look around, and maybe for other people it is hard. And maybe for you in the past it has been hard. What if those things don't have to be true now, though? What if we relax enough and we allow it to be easy? Because we all came into this earth with a blueprint as a baby. We came into the earth happy. We came into the earth like just curious for life, here to live it to the fullest, satisfied for the most part. When we were fed and we had our sleep, we were satisfied as babies. So that is who we truly are. That is actually our natural state. And that's why what we experience right now might not feel good to us, because it's not our natural state. So actually, to get back to your natural state might not be hard. It's just the process of allowing it, opening yourself up, and allowing it, allowing your vibrational frequency will naturally rise. It's just like a cork. Abraham Hicks has this amazing analogy. She talks about a cork, and when you place all these heavy things on it, you keep stacking all this heavy stuff on this cork, it's going to sink further and further and further. You don't have to try to force the cork to come up. Just take the heavy stuff off the top and it will naturally float. Whoa, that sounds a lot more fun. Sounds a lot easier. So I loved that. Okay, she also said, so I don't remember ever a time in my life where I was encouraged to dream, but was always called a daydreamer. I love it. Yes, yes. And that, I think, is also part of us. We were made in the image of God. We were made to imagine. It is in the fabric of who we are. And the opposite of depression is expression, is dreaming, is expressing yourself, expressing the thoughts that you have, the things that you can create, all of this. Dreamers are who change the world. People who think outside the box. So it's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I think when we can learn how to channel that and like funnel that into productive dreaming, productive creativity, because we can also get an analysis paralysis where we analyze everything, we dream and we analyze and we dream and we analyze and we think and we overthink and then we do nothing. So there's masculine, there's feminine energy. Dreaming, thinking, creating, feeling things, that is a feminine energy. Doing, working, putting things in motion, that is a masculine energy. So how can we balance those two? Because I think we require both for life. So anyhow, that's part of energy too. Okay, so why do emotions matter? We kind of hit on this a while ago. It strengthens our thought process and it creates beliefs, which then create actions. So our emotions are so important. If emotions stem from thoughts and beliefs stem from repeated thoughts and emotions, then what thoughts would benefit you to change? Are there some thought patterns that you're thinking right now that do not serve you? Write them down. What thoughts are you going to change? Identify the ones you would like to change. And then the very next question is, what could you replace the above thought pattern with? Usually it's just the direct opposite. A lot of times in life, it can be difficult for us to identify what we do want, what we do desire, because we haven't been there yet. We've experienced this and we just know we just don't want this anymore. So usually a great first step is to just turn the complete opposite direction and say, what would the opposite of that be? And that'll usually give you a great, you can start going that direction and kind of start to feel that out and see, what would I love? What would I love? If I had endless resources, if I had endless time, endless money, endless knowledge, if I had the energy and the capability and the people around me to do anything, what would I love? Not what do I need? What do I have to have? What would my parents approve of? What would society approve of? What would you love? Kathy says, yesterday and today I've been telling myself to put the crown on that I was given by the Lord. Woo, girl. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I love that. I might be borrowing that. That's some good stuff. We all have that. And I think sometimes as Christians, we get in this mindset that we're not worthy. Like we deserve to die and go to hell. Like that's what we deserve. And to be truthfully honest, I mean, under the old law, like that is probably what we deserve. Here's the thing though, we have already had a price paid for us so great that there is no price tag. Your worthiness is so far beyond what you can even comprehend and what I can even comprehend. And I think our greatest gift of appreciation for that is to go live like we are. It's powerful stuff. So, okay, notice how you feel now. So now that you've identified those things, you've decided what you could replace it with. What are the emotions that you feel now? What actions do you feel inspired to take from this new place of alignment? I love that word alignment. Put this on paper, write it down. How do you feel? And from feeling different and being in a place of alignment, what new actions do you feel inspired to take? I might even encourage you to ask yourself the question, am I willing? It's great to identify these things. It's great to feel different about them. It's great to understand the process. Are you willing to implement it and do it? This is where a lot of fear starts creeping right back up. Well, what if? Well, what if it doesn't go well? Well, what if I couldn't actually do it? What if? This is where we overcome in the mindset piece and we just make a decision anyways. And you just step out there in faith, getting yourself in alignment first, a place of inspiration first. Abraham Hicks, she describes it as plugging in the vacuum. So you can vacuum the whole entire floor. You can make the lines, you can stand up, you can do the work, you can sweat. You could vacuum the same piece of your living room or the rug or whatever for 24 hours straight and not pick up one speck of dirt if you don't go plug the vacuum cleaner in. Vice versa is true. If you plug the vacuum cleaner in, but that's all you do, I thought about it, I plugged it in, I got in alignment, I got spiritually connected, I feel good about myself, I got my emotions running, woo, I got some juice running, I got the electricity's flowing through the vacuum cleaner, but you don't actually start moving the vacuum cleaner across the floor, you still will not pick up any dirt. It takes both pieces. So now that you have some of the understanding of the energetics, the thought process, the emotional piece of it, will you be willing to take action on it? Because you want to know how you get more clarity on something? You go do it. No one knew how to do something until they just went and did it. And then they could turn around and tell you how they did it. They figured it out along the way. And what works for me may not work for you. So the way that you figure out something in your life might be different from the way that I figure out something for my life. We all have this creative ability, and it's a pretty awesome thing. Okay, 4 minutes. We did good. We're going to wrap that up for today. So tomorrow we're diving into resetting the nervous system. And a little bit more on the physical piece. I'm going to walk you through a guided meditation that I'm going to lead. I literally make them up and I think they're awesome. So you can come tell me what you think about them. But this is how, like, I want to help you train your mind muscle. It is a muscle that must be built. And right now in today's world, a lot of times things are just thrown at us. So it's all coming from the outside. I would love to teach you how to use your mind and your creative power from the inside out, to not feel like you're always living behind, but like you are projecting life. You are creating what's coming next. You know, you're getting like, you're going out a step ahead in your mind first. So as you start moving into it by action, this feels normal to me. This is who I am. I'm stepping into it. I'm allowing it. I don't feel weird about it because I've already played this out in my mind and decided that this is who I am. And I receive. Now I open myself up to receive these things. So we're going to go into that. And once you can calm your nervous system down. So something that happens in fight or flight really quickly. When you go into a state of fight or flight and your parasympathetic nervous system is triggered, boom. So that's not normally how we operate. We are sympathetic, parasympathetic. Excuse me if I get them wrong. Those are the two words. So one is fight or flight. You don't operate in fight or flight normally. Normally, you're not in that state. You're in a state of relaxation. But when you go into that state, your muscles at the very back of your neck will contract. They instantly tighten up. This is to decrease blood flow to your brain so that you don't have the capability to have forethought, to create, to think past surviving right now. This is also giving blood flow to your internal organs. Like, you start constricting everything. So when this happens, when those muscles tighten, a lot of times it can pull your top vertebrae out of alignment. This pinches on your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is responsible for so many different functions in your body, but it can impact everything from the neck down, basically. And so to get out of this state, we must relax. And I'm going to teach you how to relax these muscles and how to get blood flow back to your brain, how to be able to use your imagination, your prefrontal cortex, how to get all of these things working again. When you stay in a state of fight or flight, it's starting to basically degenerate your nervous system. We have to get out of that. And so much of it is just our perception. It is our perception of what we're believing about things, how big we're believing them to be, how stressed we need to be, how it's like a competition of how stressed are you? Well, I'm more stressed. Whew. I mean, let me tell you all the things I've been doing, you know? And so how can we start to shift this attitude, this mindset? How can we get out of that? And then I'm going to show you physiologically a way to physically do this as well. That connects like your eye muscles. There's 8 muscles in your eyes that are connected to the back of your skull. And you can use these to start to loosen those muscles back there and get this back in alignment and get your vagus nerve reset. It is so fascinating. So I'm teaching that tomorrow. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, put them in the chat and I'll answer them really quickly. So a couple more housekeeping things. Reminder, I'm going to upload the recording as soon as I finish this, and then we'll email that out to you. It'll be available until Friday to watch. So I also have people usually like, okay, well, what do I do now? What do I do next? How do I do this? I have a 6-month transform program. I'll tell you about it very quickly and then I'll let you guys go. But basically it is weekly lessons. We start out with clarity, getting very clear. What are your goals? What do you desire? Without clarity, no one has a path, and you just keep repeating the same things. Then we move into a physical assessment, a mental assessment, a spiritual assessment. We work on those 3 things throughout our entire time together. So there's lessons every week. I can go into more detail on like what all those are, what they look like. There's an app on your phone so you can listen to them anytime. So it's basically, it's kind of self-paced, but every week we need to keep moving forward. So it's self-paced within the week. And then every Tuesday we have group sessions. These are basically embodiment sessions. They're not come air out your dirty laundry and feel awkward sessions. They're me stepping in the trenches with you and doing this with you. They're also a checkpoint. How are you doing? How are things going? Do you have questions? Like, I'm right here with you. This is a very hands-on, customized program that I am walking through it with you. And then we do the work in those sessions, meditations, visualizations. Like we walk into, we did lymphatic drainage last week. Like I taught them how to do lymphatic drainage, all kinds of really cool things. I just bring them in there and that's where we work on stuff. And then every other week we do a one-on-one call. You and I up to an hour. Sometimes as you get to working in it, it takes 30 to 45 minutes, but it can be up to an hour long. And this is where we dive in and we make this personal for you. What is working for you? There's a ton of tools in this. I would like to find what works well for you though. Do you like to draw? Do you like to paint? Do you like music? Do you like to write? Do you like to exercise? Like, what's your expression like? How can we move you forward? So yes, there are lessons that everyone reviews. Yes, we do the group session and then we get very personalized to make it work for you. So there's also a workbook that's included with that too. And this can be done. I know a lot of people are like, I don't have time for it, but here's the thing. You don't have time not to do it anymore. Like if life was going to change, it would have changed by now. So 1 hour a week on the lessons aren't even an hour. I shortened them down. They're about anywhere from 20 to about 45 minutes on the lesson. You have all week to do that. The group sessions are 1 hour and they're recorded. And then our one-on-one session is anywhere from, like I said, 30 minutes to an hour. And that's every other week. This doesn't take very long. And I like for you to implement things every day. So I give you something, every day. And it can be 30 minutes. It could be an hour. If you have maybe 15 minutes in the morning, you have 30 minutes before you went to bed at night. So that's all the time constraint. I'm not saying constraints. What's the word? And the time investment, I guess, that it's going to take for this program, but it is consistently showing up in the energy of what we're doing. That's where the change happens. So anyhow, that is, and I usually only offer 10% off during summit weeks. I'm offering 15% off until Friday. Friday at midnight. I've never done this before. I don't know that I'll ever do it again. For some reason today, I'm like, let's do 15% off until Friday. So this program is $7,800 if we're paying full. There's also payment plans that we can work out throughout the 6 months. So that 15% off knocks off $1,170. It brings it down to $6,630. And like I said, the payment plan would be, I believe it's $2,500 down, and then we can do monthly payments for the remaining on that. So this is also tax deductible because I have an RN license in Oklahoma. This is tax deductible as either a medical expense, if that's what would work better for you, or as a business expense, as personal development, because we do cover business. We can take a topic, whatever you're struggling with that you would like to spend more time on, and we can move you forward in that. And like I said, this program specifically has an underlying component of physical health to it throughout. So that assessment is fairly in depth, where I'm asking you questions. Have you had this lab test done? Have you had this done? Have you, what are your eating habits like? What is your gut health like? Are you sleeping well? Sleep is of utmost importance. Like, you have a lot of trouble controlling your mind and your emotions if you're not sleeping well. So we get you sleeping well. I also was a sleep consultant for babies for a little while, so I do have some sleep training. I think I can get you sleeping well. Anyhow, this is basically what this looks like. If you have further questions, let me know. I know this is a lot of information. But anyhow, that's 15% off until Friday, and then that will go away. It will be 10% off till Monday. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat box. Tomorrow we're jumping in even further. I'm really excited about tomorrow. I hope that you guys can be on live. It's going to be really good. And then, like I said, Thursday is going to be, we're jumping into, if you look ahead in that workbook, Thursday is going to be packed. Wednesday is going to be packed full. Stress and overstimulated nervous system, detoxification, lymphatics, liver, kidney flushes, immune system, Epstein-Barr virus, gene mutations, gut health, blood sugar. There's a lot coming. And like I said, I know this is a lot of information. Take it for what you will. And let me know if you have any questions at all. I'd be happy to answer them. My Calendly link is available. I can put that in our Facebook group if you guys want to book calls. That's available for you too. And we'll get the replays up soon. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable, and I sincerely do appreciate you spending it with me. And we'll see you tomorrow.